So much to get into today. We're starting with Richard Jaffe. He's a healthcare litigator focusing on complex medical and free speech cases. He also studies the philosophy and history of science, and we're going to get into some meta conversations. The general topic is detransitioning, and in that vein, Dr. Jill Simons, board-certified pediatrician, executive director of the American College of Pediatricians, want to know, she was previously the chairman of pediatrics for Mercy and Unity Hospital, and the question will be, what happened to the American, the American College of Pediatricians, and how are they looking at these problems now? And then Emilie Hagen comes in, and she brings in Brianna to talk to us about the Epstein Files. Emilie knows everything, and so I wanted her to tell me everything about the Epstein Files, and they have been studying them deeply. So we'll get into that, but first, Richard Jaffe after this.
Our laws as it pertains to substances are draconian and bizarre. The psychopaths start this way. He was an alcoholic because of social media and pornography, PTSD, love addiction, fentanyl and heroin. Ridiculous. I'm a doctor, for Christ's sake. Where the hell do you think I learned that? I'm just saying, you go to treatment before you kill people. I am a clinician. I observe things about these chemicals. Let's just deal with what's real. We used to get these calls on Loveline all the time. Educate adolescents and to prevent and to treat. If you have trouble you can't stop and you want to help stop it, I can help. I got a lot to say. I got a lot more to say.
All right, Rick Jaffe, as I said, is a healthcare litigator. I'm going to give you his particulars before I bring him in here. He's got a lot of stuff going on. First of all, his book, Galileo's Lawyer, Courtroom Battles in Alternative Health, Complementary Medicine, and Experimental Treatments. Very interesting. You can follow Rick on Rick Jaffe, one word, JAFFE.com. X is Jaffe Rick, JAFFE Rick. Substack is Rick Jaffe ESQ, Esquire. And I think that about covers everything. Rick, welcome to the program.
Thank you so much for having me. Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
This is going to be fun. I think we're going to have a good time here. Let's start with Galileo's Lawyer. And no. I want to go to that. But first, let's talk about what the headline we mentioned we would talk about, which some of these lawsuits around detransitioning. Where are you involved with some of this? Is it medical malpractice now that's being pursued, or is there something more profound that people are going to get accused of?
Well, actually, I'm not directly involved in any of the detransitioning lawsuits. What we have in common is we have filed a racketeering case against the American Academy of Pediatrics. And what's interesting is our lawsuit is about vaccines. But it turns out that the AAP is a central player in this whole gender transition thing. They wrote a major paper in 2018 that was widely criticized because it basically attempted to adopt as the standard of care transitioning and surgeries and hormonal replacement therapy. And I think what's happened is there's been a backlash from that recently because of this, in part because of the lawsuit, in part because of a study they did in England, the CAS study. And so my interest in this really is the fact that a central player in this part of it is a defendant in a case that we filed a couple of weeks ago, and the parallels to what's happening in both situations are really quite remarkable. And the pushback in the vaccine area and also in the detransitioning.
Yeah,
so that's really
I'm not surprised. Yeah, so I want to share with you something I've observed over and over and over again about my profession, and more importantly, some of the medical professional societies, the subspecialty organizations, the American College of Physicians, American Academy of Pediatrics, and I see this mechanism at play, and it's the same mechanism that also brought us the overprescribing of opiates, in that we had your profession who took a couple of cases in Florida, North Carolina, and California, and successfully, criminally went after doctors for inadequate treatment of pain. So it became no longer a malpractice issue, but a criminal matter of patient abuse if you didn't give patient as much pain medication as they needed. Alongside of that, the Pain Medicine Society decided that there should never be pain in America. And they went around and they systematically went state by state and got the regulators, the state medical boards, and then the VA to adopt pain as a fifth vital sign, pain is what the patient says it is, and it just grew from there. And then, of course, the drug companies blew wind into the sails of it. They thought they loved it, of course, but it really was the professional societies and my profession in particular that brought that mess. Is it the same thing with the vaccines?
I think it is, and I think that in all of these cases, what you have is you have a central paradigm. And what happens to the paradigm, and this is straight out of philosophy, history and philosophy of science, Thomas Kuhn, The Structure of Scientific Revolutions is really what started it. But you have a paradigm which has a system of treatment in this case. And then what happens is you have problems that arise. People die, people aren't getting better. And then there's all kinds of explanations about why that's the case. It's almost like with Ptolemy, with epicycles, if you know what that is, in terms of what goes around what, the sun or the earth.
Before we came up with the ellipse, we had circles of planets flying around the sun, but you had to have epicycles to explain what happened in the sky.
Epicycles, right. So what happens in all these cases is you have a scientific system proposed by, which is conventional. It doesn't work. Yeah. In medicine, people die, they don't get better. And then you have explanations, and part and parcel of that is you try to suppress the dissenters. I mean, that's part of it. You debase them, you don't accept their science. And in that and then that's normal science. And then at some point, the paradigm just crashes and just doesn't work. And the perfect example is what you talk about in terms of these painkillers. I mean, and I think you traced it, how it's called these intractable pain treatment acts. I was in Texas when they passed that, and it just swept the country. Yep. And that directly led to the whole pain meds problem we're having now and all the deaths.
Yes.
So that's exactly right. And I think we're seeing that play out over a 25-year period with vaccines and over a 7, 8, 9-year period with this transition stuff and the surgeries. So we have three really different cycles, but it's the same thing on some, meta level.
Yeah, and in medicine, I absolutely agree with you. I've seen it in real time. And by the way, in both cases, with the opiate epidemic and COVID, I was raising my hand, raising my hand going, no, that's not okay, and was just crushed. Now with the opiate, it was a little more systematic because they had control of the Department of Mental Health, the local medical societies, the state level boards, all the different hospital administrators. They all get in on it, and they actively crush dissent. I was accused of wanting people to suffer, accused of being old-fashioned, accused of being opiophobic, and it really went to the mat when got really called in front of my hospital administration because I didn't give an opiate to a heroin addict in withdrawal who was a little uncomfortable, who had an unhappy face on the happy face scale. Yeah, this is how insane it got. And COVID to me was the same thing. Because I was like, wait a minute, what? Why aren't we? What? All of a sudden, we're doing this thing that no one's ever done before, that except in 12th century in Venice, and it was a disaster. And so it's always the same thing. And in medicine, there's a little bit of a culty quality to the whole thing, right? In that there's an authority structure, there's a canon, there's people that are anointed, and they defend their positions.
Right, and I think the title of my book, I have The Church of Medical Orthodoxy. I mean, that's the whole point of the way it works. And you could call it normal science or conventional medicine. You see at the bottom, it's something like the Church of Medical Orthodoxy or something like that. So I think that, and that's my basic view after doing this stuff for 40 years, science, because it's done by humans, is a human endeavor,
Yeah.
and you can try as much as you want to try to attempt to objectifies everything and rule out and take away the human quality, but in the end you can't. And there's all kinds of ways you do studies. A friend and client of mine, Pierre Corey, you probably know him. He wrote a book about his travails with ivermectin, and he came up with the 5 or 6 different ways that medicine can basically knock studies or show they don't work, or even in testing. And one of the things I found in my experience over all these decades is that, there's all kinds of ways you can ruin a study, make it not work. And that's why I think that, some of it's, gets close to evil. So it's just, I think the biggest misconception that people have is that because of the so-called scientific method, which is really more abused than used, somehow everything that comes out is objective, and there is an answer, and basically what the majority says works. And I think I think that's the biggest mistake people make. And I think COVID has really changed all that, because they saw how the authorities kept on getting wrong one time after another. So I think that we're starting to change that, see the change in that, in large part because of COVID. And I think the gender stuff is showing that too. And if they ever do the studies in vaccines, I think it'll show it in that as well.
I absolutely agree. I had a very lively talk with Brett Weinstein, the Dark Horse podcast, and he and I both shared this exact phenomenon that you're discussing. But the way we framed it was, the scientific method is an instrument, and it's a delicate instrument. It has to be applied a very specific way. It has a structure to it that has to be followed. And if you don't follow it exactly the way it's designed, it's going to adulterate things. I mean, there's already tons of human error involved in the assumptions that go into your hypothesis. And God knows your experiment, there's experimental errors. And then the statistical analysis that you choose can have some problems with it, depending on which one you choose. So of course, if we are not using it carefully, it'll just push out nonsense.
Right. And I think at some point, people start to realize that the theorists and the scientists, they just don't have the answers they pretend to. And I would have to go a step farther, just based on my experience in litigating cases. I think there's a lot of ill will, jealousies, and what I call sociopathology involved in this. There are people that just, I've seen cases where in general, there's a lot of talk about the scientific method in the public, but oftentimes at the expense of individual patients. I mean, that's part of it. But
yes, of course.
I just don't find that in many of these studies in highly controversial areas, there is just a lot of putting your thumb on the scales. I'll just put it like that.
Yeah.
And
for sure. Or just everything, the design is all off too. But tell me, let's go back to the RICO lawsuit. Is this the first time someone has attempted something like this, this suit you're going after? And what are give me some of the pertinent details, and do you think you're going to have success here?
Well, that's a mouthful. I think it's an unusual situation, but it's precedented. I mean, our case is modeled after what the government and insurance companies did against the tobacco industry. And the parallels to the tobacco industry RICO litigation are really, quite shocking. Basically, the tobacco industry systematically created doubt about the connection between smoking and cancer. And they had entities like the Tobacco Institute, the Center for Tobacco Research, sow that doubt. The parallel here is it's a little different, because what we think is the AAP is really the central figure in basically sowing certainty in terms of the overall vaccine safety, which does not exist. I did a little experiment. The fundamental premise of the lawsuit is that the entire schedule of the vaccines, through 18 years, 72 doses, it's never been tested. They've never tested whether the entire schedule has a net benefit or net harm, or how many people it's killing versus how many people it's saving. It's never been done, and most people don't know that. Personal story for me, I asked a close relative of mine, I said that, did you know that the vaccine schedule has never been tested? And the quote, "You're lying." And then this person looked at Perplexity, said that it's true. It's never been tested. And then what happened is, but Perplexity has, well, of course, you can't test the schedule because it's unethical, because vaccines work, which of course is circular reasoning. But here's the second big lie, which is responsible people never asked for prospective studies to test and have an unvaccinated cohort and a vaccinated cohort. That was never the ask.
Right.
The ask was, so we have this giant database. It's called the Vaccine Safety Database. And we have VAERS, right? What the Institute of Medicine asked everyone to do, the CDC to do, is just take a look at the records and see what they see, what they can find out from them. And that's never been done. And that is a fact. So even Perplexity understands that. And the fact that it hasn't been done, that testing hasn't been done when they asked to do it in 2002, and when they asked again in 2013, hasn't been done for 24 years. So,
Amazing.
As a result, there's no basis to conclude one way or other right now that vaccines have net benefit. And a lot of the studies that have been done, that have been debunked, shows that in general, unvaccinated kids are healthier. And this recent study that I'm sure is going to get retracted a second time by Brian Hooker and his colleague, it shows that the death rate of vaccinated kids is significantly higher, statistically significantly higher than the vaccinated group in Louisiana. And I put that in the complaint. So none of this is conclusive. I view all this as just signals, right? And the message that I think that I would send is look at this giant digital filing cabinet and find out what you can find out and answer some of these questions. And, you can get into the details about autism and all that, but the fundamental point is they've never tested the combined schedule. That's acknowledged by the government. And there's been a sleight of hand about how you don't have to test it because everyone knows it's safe, which is circular reasoning. So I would think that is really the message I'm trying to convey, and let the chips fall where they may. But look at the data. It's there. There's no ethical consideration about looking at 12 or 15 million medical records, some of kids who are vaccinated, some are partially vaccinated, some are unvaccinated, and see what you find out. I mean, I think the country really is owing that.
I completely agree. And you talked about the uncertainty. Joseph Fryman coined a phrase. He did some of the original revisitation of the study at Pfizer studies. Is that any good scientist or clinician has rational uncertainty. We've been through a time of irrational certitude. Certitude is not. It's the opposite of science. It's the opposite of medicine. And it's weird that the people are. I guess it's the human part. It's the human weakness that has people sort of get defensive and fall into this certitude that's completely uncalled for. Rick, I really appreciate you being here. I want to keep up with you on this action, if you wouldn't mind, if you'd give us some feedback as it goes along. It is a lot like the tobacco story. It truly is, in terms of how they did their thing. And it is a concerted, coordinated, and RICO is, to me, the perfect way of, and it's happened before. You have the example of the opioid crisis, and God knows there are probably others out there. Right,
yeah, and I think the certitude, by the way, asserted to think, I think bothers me the most. I mean, it's just the hubris, right? Talking about this gender stuff, I looked it up. Up until 1973, the DSM-2 had homosexuality as it was in the
disorder.
book.
Yeah.
Right, as a disorder. Yeah. So with that context, it's just, I think my prescription to all of these people, what I call the vaccine mafia, and you could apply it to the gender people as well, is have a little humility. You're a scientist, but things change.
And the psychiatry is loaded with stories of problems where they get into weird think. Just the fact that psychoanalysis took over the American psychiatric world for 30 or 40 years was a weird anomaly. And then the guys that came in after that were sticking ice picks up people's eyeballs and swooshing it around. And there's another thing that happens, which is when the disciplines that really understand that stuff, neurosurgery in that case, they go silent. They just stay out of it, as opposed to speaking up and going, hey, this guy that won the Nobel Prize in Spain for the frontal lobotomy, we don't think it's a good idea. I don't know why doctors don't have more courage. I guess they're just too busy or whatever. But Rick, thank you so much for being here. We'll look for you on the Substack. I want to get Galileo's Lawyer. I can't wait to read that. It sounds fascinating. And good luck on the RICO, and we'll get the update from you as it moves along.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. You got it.
Thank you so much. Coming up, Dr. Jill Simons, we're going to talk specifically about some of this detransitioning situation, particularly from the standpoint of the American College of Pediatricians, because Jill is, in fact, a board-certified pediatrician, right after this. I've spent most of my career dealing with illnesses that shorten life, and now we have ways to extend it and extend wellness. I've been working with the team over at V-Shred to develop a product that has everything I want in a longevity supplement. NR Boost has nicotinamide riboside. Metal can rust. Well, your body behaves in a similar way. It's mediated through something called NAD. NAD falls as we age, so we're less able to fight off that oxidative process. We oxidize much like that metal. And NAD fights it, but nicotinamide riboside elevates NAD so we can push back on those oxidative stressors, improving health, improving longevity. The other product is Senosync, has fisetin, one of the key molecules to fight off zombie cells, and we've added resveratrol to that, which is a well-known anti-aging antioxidant again. I don't like supplements that have a ton of ingredients. To me, it suggests that none of it's working. When I prescribe a medication, I prescribe that medicine because I expect that to work. That is exactly what I've done with these products. And I want you to go to drdrew.com/vshredmd for 10% off. Again, that is drdrew.com/vshredmd. What's going on with your retirement savings? This should concern all of us. Inflation is not some abstract notion. It quietly erodes purchasing power over time. This means that savings you had in 2020 have already lost roughly 22% of its value. This isn't politics, this is arithmetic. But the troubling part is most retirement accounts are correlated really 100% with equity markets. So when markets drop, your savings drop. Retiring at the wrong time can undo decades of work. That's why many people look to physical gold and silver for protection. And that's why we suggest Augusta Precious Metals. Their entire approach is very different. There's no pressure. They just give you education and information. Augusta explains how gold or silver IRAs work and how physical metals could fit into your retirement account without tax consequences. And they've operated for over a decade with thousands of clients. They put together a free guide that walks you through everything. It's available now at drdrew.com/gold. You'll get the same educational materials that Augusta gave to Susan and myself. So if inflation worries you, Augusta is a great place to start. Go to drdrew.com/gold. That is drdrew.com/GOLD. Or just text the word Drew to the number 35052. That's 35052 to get that free guide now.
Dr. Drew said the best way to quit drinking is by going cold turkey, and he's a doctor, so why would you question doctors?
Dr. Drew called me unfixable.
Jill Simons is a board-certified pediatrician. She is executive director of the American College of Pediatricians, previously served as the chairman of pediatrics for Mercy and Unity Hospital. She focuses on child advocacy, medical ethics, and protecting children from things like gender ideology. You can follow her on X, Dr. Jill Simons, Simons. Also on X, ACPs, PEDS. Jill, welcome to the program.
Thank you for having me on.
So I just read a post where the American Medical Association is also now changing directions on gender affirming care, or whatever we're calling it now. Where is the pediatric world?
Yeah, the American Academy of Pediatrics. So I'm executive director of the American College of Pediatrics, but the AAP, or the American Academy of Pediatrics, they seem to be doubling down on these harmful protocols for kids, the puberty blockers, opposite sex hormones. And, despite all these young adults and kids coming forward saying they, regret these, taking these medications and the surgeries that they've had, and despite all the studies we have now showing the harms that it causes, they're ignoring the science and they are forging ahead. Just like you were talking with before, they're really ignoring the science and the evidence.
What is that? What has happened? And again, is the American College of Pediatricians and the American Pediatric Association at odds with this?
So the American College of Pediatricians was formed about 25 years ago. It was actually several doctors in the American Academy of Pediatrics, one of the past presidents even, that became really frustrated with the AAP going with ideological views instead of the scientific evidence. And in fact, protocols, and still to this day, protocols and decisions are made by a group within the Academy of Pediatrics, and then published as this is consensus, this is all our members. Whereas the American College of Pediatricians, any statement we put out is researched by our scientific policy committee, and then all of the members get a vote in it. They all get to comment. And so it encourages discussion. It encourages dissent, as opposed to the AAP, which silences doctors that speak up when they have questions. Is this really good for kids? Mm-hmm.
That's crazy. And there's now a big lawsuit. Tell me about that.
Yes. There's several lawsuits. This was the first one that had a verdict, and this poor young lady, and I'm not involved in this case at all, but I can tell you they're all very similar. Their parents are told, they're told that this is the answer to their problems. They're uncomfortable with their sex, or they're just struggling in life. They're awkward. Puberty's awkward. And the answer is that, well, you must be trans and you were born in the wrong body. And that is the cruelest thing you can say to a child, that, you're right. You're so wrong. You were born in the wrong body. And then they do something worse, and they attempt to, correct this with harmful chemicals, puberty blockers, hormones that themselves are laden with side effects and lead to sterility, and then go further to these surgeries. And there may be some euphoria after, and they feel better, but you have medicalized these children for life. They are dependent on these hormones. If they have surgeries, they're so many complications, they're disfigured. You've taken a healthy body and now medicalized it for life. So there is real regret from these kids. And, the parents also, the families go through hell. And, the parents are pressured by these doctors that are supposed to be telling them the best medical advice. They're telling them, if your son or daughter, if you don't do this for them, they're going to commit suicide. And what parent, doesn't want to do everything possible to prevent their child from committing suicide? So it's a form of blackmail that the doctors are putting these families through.
Certainly coercion, which, and remember, in the Hippocratic Oath, no coercion is explicit in the Hippocratic Oath. So,
right.
From the beginning of all this, I've been saying, look, there may be some kids that could be helped by this, but our job as physicians is to find the right treatment for the right patient, which is it takes forever to sort out the various treatment interventions and the various presentations of these various kinds of syndromes that kids come in with to figure out what's the right treatment for the right patient. I've never seen a situation where we just give everybody the same thing with sort of even an adjacent symptom complex. Everybody gets this one thing. And that's the oddest thing for me. And that just immediately smacks of ideological capture.
Right. And what other condition in medicine where, upwards of 98% of these kids outgrow it? I mean, we all know kids who, thought they were an astronaut or a cloud or a pirate, all these things, or thought they were the opposite sex. And 98%, up to 98%, 88 to 98% outgrow this with support through natural puberty. And so what other medical condition would you apply this many things with this many possible harms and side effects for a condition that takes care of that they outgrow?
I have a friend who developed gender dysphoria at age 13 in Norway. And at the time, his mother took him to the pediatrician. They evaluated him for a while, these various sort of assessments. Then the pediatrician said, I think this could be a psychiatric problem. Psychiatrist evaluates this individual for months. At the end, psychiatrist says, I do think you have this gender dysphoria, and I would like to be able to prescribe these dangerous medications to you, these hormones that are increase your risk of liver disorders and clotting, and it's going to change your body, but I do believe it will leave your distress. And it worked, and this person now is, 20 years down the line, and she still says, I have a serious condition. The treatment worked, but the treatment is serious. These are dangerous medicines that I have to take the rest of my life because I have a disorder. And she looks at it very much medically and was clearly the right treatment for the right patient after careful assessment and consideration and talking about it with everybody. That to me is how this ought to go. Am I off?
No, I mean, I'm a pediatrician. I know that kids' brains are not developed, until their mid-20s, and kids can't consent to these things. They can't comprehend. They just are incapable. Just like,
right.
A 6-month-old is not capable of running. They can't make these kind of important decisions. And, the parents are, I would argue also not informed when we know some of these things happen with, very short visits. And, you mentioned extensive psychiatric evaluation, looking at the whole child, what else is going on. And all of that is dismissed. I mean, any kid who's suicidal, you should look at everything. You shouldn't just say, this is why, and jump to that. So there's a huge disservice happening to kids. I mean, it's worse than that, to kids and families.
So are these lawsuits catching any attention? Are they changing the practices at all? Again, like I said, the AMA seems to be making noise like it's going to change its position.
Well, this is how this ends. So there's several roads to this ending. The lawyers, the legislators, they'll drag this out, lawsuits, legislation. The fastest way this ends, this could end tomorrow, tonight. If doctors stop prescribing and stop doing these surgeries on kids. And so that's my job. I speak to doctors, medical groups, and urge them to stop this, look at the evidence. And we in June of 24, many groups, many medical organizations came together and put together the Doctors Protecting Children Declaration. And we just said enough. And what you're proposing is not consensus. We are thousands of physicians, tens of thousands of physicians saying this is harming kids. And this petition, this declaration has gone around the globe. Elon Musk picked it up. It's had 65 million views on his own account, millions others. So there are real doctors, there are good doctors out there that are speaking against this, and they can't silence us all. But that's what's happening is there's this massive silencing campaign going on to the doctors that are trying to speak up. So the best way this ends, the fastest way, is for the doctors to change themselves, to stop this.
Well, the plastic surgeons are speaking up now too, but I saw the way the opiate thing stopped. Jeff Sessions put a bunch of doctors in prison for overprescribing, and it stopped the next week. It happened immediately. And so it started, as I was talking to Rick Jaffe about, because of legal action for underprescribing. So, we get very scared as physicians about the legal consequences of what we're doing. We'll run from one side of the boat to the other. And I think these lawsuits may be what catches the wind, but I'm not sure.
I have faith in our profession. I mean, we have to see the wrong of this so that it doesn't happen again, that these things don't happen. Not be forced because your CFO of the hospital says you can't do this anymore, or the lawyers, your malpractice insurance won't cover you. As a profession, we need to look at ourselves and say, how did we get here? We stop people from being able to ask questions. And so I think it'll be a combination of things that ends this, really. But my call is for physicians to do the right thing and stop this.
Is there some place we can go to read the data? You're saying you have evidence of the harm. Do you have it collated in one place?
Yeah, the doctorsprotectingchildren.org has our declaration on it. It's the most concise, lists the harms, has the Cass review, which was done by Hilary Cass, pediatrician in the UK. Extensive studies were done over there looking at all the data. Our own website, acpeds.org. And then we have a whole website dedicated to this. It's called biologicalintegrity.org. And that website is meant for not only physicians, but also parents and policymakers, teachers, that has answers to all these things. What are the harms of puberty blockers, surgeries, just everything, little fact sheets you can print out, articles, videos. It's very user-friendly.
You said you weren't involved in the lawsuit we referenced, that $2 million malpractice case. Do you know any of the details about it?
I do not. Just what I've read. Yeah. The mom mentions, feeling pressure, just like I said. I mean, the story plays over and over where there's this pressure to this is the answer, like you were saying, this is the answer to your problems.
Yeah.
So
I'm right now on biologicalintegrity.org, and this doesn't really have what I'd be looking for as a physician. Is there somewhere that would I have to go to PubMed? I mean, is there somewhere they've got the predominant data accumulated in peer-reviewed publications? Yeah.
So everything on biological integrity has footnotes, has the resources for it. But if you go to doctorsprotectingchildren.org, everything in our declaration, there's long list of references, huge source there. That would be the most concise place. And you can sign it too, Dr. Drew.
Okay.
You can sign in support of the good doctors fighting this fight.
Fair enough. Dr. Simons, thank you. Thank you for standing up. Whenever there's a mass formation, there's always a bunch of true believers, and it's usually a smaller minority that raise their hand and go, hey, hang on a second. But it's important that you get onto the boat that others, it's about 20% true believers, 10% of clairvoyance, people that can see through it, but 70% are just wanting to get their work done and stay, just keep their head down. Those are the ones you got to get on board before this thing changes, it seems to me.
Yep. We're doing a huge outreach coming up in the next few weeks, big, exciting announcement to reach out to our colleagues, let them know we're here, giving them courage to speak up.
Great. Dr. Jill Simons, X, it's Dr. Jill Simons, on X also ACPEDS, ACPEDS. Thank you for giving us an update and joining me today.
Thank you for having me. It was a pleasure.
You betcha. All right, we are switching gears, and we are going to bring Emilie Hagen back in studio with her friend Brianna, who knows even more than Emilie, she says. Emilie knows everything, and so I wanted Emilie to tell me about the Epstein file, but she says she knows everything, but Brianna knows everything. You know nothing, Emilie, and Brianna knows everything. And so we're going to take another quick break, and then we're going to get into it. So send out the flares if people want to get into this topic. I've got people I would call them, even so Emilie knows everything, claims she knows nothing. I would see these two We'll give you the definitive conversation about what is important in the Epstein file after this.
Okay. The other day he looked at me and he goes, "Hey, the V-shred's working." He likes it when I try to look good for him.
You're nice. There's an excitement that comes with doing these kinds of workout that kind of sustains you through the day.
It's exhilarating.
It's not working out hours in the gym. It's not running on a treadmill forever. It's not killing yourself with diet. It's these are all very reasonable recommendations. You just got to follow it. We're actually really genuinely very excited about what we're getting out of this. We like doing it together. We're both in on this, and it's been a real fun adventure. I don't know where we stop.
In the
frankly.
first
It's a
2
big
weeks,
part of
I
our
lost
life.
5 pounds. So
Yep.
there you go.
In your 20s, it's easy, right? We put on muscle easily, we're fit, we got tons of stamina. But as you get older, you may not be able to lose weight as quickly or as easily. You may not be able to put muscle on so easily. And joints and muscles sometimes start to hurt. And you may think or may have been told that there's nothing you can do about it other than taking more pills, eating more salads, or just spending endless hours at the gym. Well, that isn't true. Thousands of people are in the best shape of their lives merely because they've taken the time to do 3 things. No crazy diets, no extraordinary workouts that can injure yourself or exhaust yourself. Just a simple plan that has been proven to work. Rather than me explaining this to you for 30 minutes, there's a 30-second quiz you can take. So if you want to learn more right now, click the link below to get your personal life plan.
The Wellness Company knows that taking charge of your family's healthcare is a top priority, and that's why they're constantly innovating to deliver the products and services to help you be rationally ready. Be sure to have the medical kit for kids on hand, whether you're a parent or grandparent. It treats 20 childhood conditions, including nausea and vomiting, allergies, asthma, inflammatory illnesses, even bioterror, God forbid. Listen, croup, ear infections, lice, it's all available in the pediatric emergency kit. You can also order the kids kit with an EpiPen should your child be at risk of anaphylaxis. And those EpiPens are carefully sourced and well priced relative to other EpiPens in the market. All 7 kits, each customized for a different purpose, come with a telemedicine consultation and a guidebook. Skip the scramble to an urgent care waiting room full of sick people and expense, or a pharmacy where there's no guarantee they'll have what you need. Go to drdrew.com/TWC for 10% off any medical emergency kit, or the supplements for that matter. That again is drdrew.com/TWC.
Hey, Dr. Drew here, and we are interested in health and longevity, and the longevity nutrient is fatty 15, discovered amazingly by a veterinarian who was responsible for the Navy's fleet of dolphins. Turns out dolphins are healthier when they have adequate amounts of pentadecanoic acid, which is C15. It also, for us, it helps humans as well, reduces the oxidative stress on our cell membranes, which is part of the aging process called ferroptosis. So she takes it, I take it, whole family takes it. And if you'd like some, go to drdrew.com/fatty15 for yours. There are discounts there.
Oh my God, look, Drew, it's a dolphin. Oh my gosh.
All right, guys. Emilie knows everything. Emilie Hagen, thank you for being here. Follow Emilie. Emilie Hagen, Hagen, Substack.com. Instagram, Emilie knows everything, Emilie. And introduce Brianna to us.
This is my friend Brianna Logan, formerly known as Jaggy-ish, and she was at the Ghislaine Maxwell trial. So I brought her along because she can compare the notes from the trial and then all the stuff we're now seeing on the justice.gov.
Where should we start, ladies? Other than a reminder, we've all been eating Paleo Valley all afternoon here.
So much for these.
I already ate my lemon meringue. Very good.
I ate and emptied one of these superfood
Did we
bars.
play an ad? Are you supposed to
I don't think we
an
did,
ad read?
but
anyways.
Is this the ad read?
We love Paleo Valley. Go to drdrew.com/Paleo Valley.
Did you change your jacket?
we changed my jacket. Susan, why did I change my jacket?
Okay, so I'm
Dude,
scrolling
outfit
through
change.
X and
She
I'm
did.
like, he's wearing the same thing he did yesterday. So I want to, have a different outfit so we know it's a different show.
Smart.
See, so she maybe changed in the middle of the show.
Technically, that's not Drew's color, the green.
Mm-hmm.
It's okay.
No, green looks good on him. You should see how cute you all look today.
All right, here we are. Where should
gotta do juice
people like the
colors.
dolphin? By the way, we do this hysterical. Where should we start? I don't.
There was a big development that just happened.
Okay, what happened?
So for years, there was a famous photo of the late Virginia Giuffre with Prince Andrew and
Yes.
Ghislaine in the background.
Yes.
For years, Prince Andrew said it was a fake photo
Yes.
and that he was at a pizza place. It has just been confirmed in a new document that Ghislaine Maxwell in 2012 admitted that that photo was real.
Was real. Okay.
And this is after this woman had been smeared and bullied for years by his
bullied to death.
And it was by Prince Andrew. So she was up against, the UK media, the American media, and then this really sick woman with horrible hair named Lady Victoria Hervey. That was Prince Andrew's
white film on her tongue I saw at the Harvey Weinstein trial. Yeah,
Nice.
she just emanated this evil vibe.
Oof.
And they've been lying about Virginia Giuffre for years in the press. Jessica Reed Krause, Lady Victoria Harvey, all because they love being able to say that they know Prince Andrew, that they go to these cool parties, that they know this person, they know that person. And they get to make the content to make fun of these survivors. And it's for what? Is it worth it? You lied on behalf of Ghislaine Maxwell. That's not exactly a stand-up person to a hill to die on, to represent that person, and you represented them incorrectly. You told lies about girls who were raped and trafficked when they were teens.
Yeah.
It's pretty sick. Lady Victoria Hervey went on Piers Morgan, and Piers said the photo's real, and she was like, "Come on, Piers, it's a fake photo." Piers literally looked at her and said, "You're deluded."
Yeah.
They have been pushing this lie for years. So this is sad because obviously.
Am I not accurate that Andrew was kicked out of the royal family?
He was stripped of his titles.
But he was
And
even
they're
kicked
still
out further out today, I think. He was sent away.
Probably because this document just got revealed. I don't know why it took this long to find it, but there's 3 million files.
He's going to live in a van down by the bridge, as they say.
I did talk to a BBC anchor recently in December, and he said the British media has known for years, of course, Andrew's guilty, and he didn't know why the American media wouldn't catch up.
And so what do we think he is guilty of, just so we spell it out?
I could read the
Having sex
email.
with teenage girls.
With teenage girls. He did. And what is it?
Intimidating them.
He would intimidate them also.
You want to come with me. If you don't come with me, then we could kill you. We could kill your family. The redacted documents I've read that have been police statements that have been buried from the 90s and the 2000s, they're all consistent in that these girls face threats if they did not do something, and or their friends who refused to go to these second locations, their friends experienced intimidation. So there was proof.
Intimidation is one thing, and I can imagine that these assholes did that, but threaten with demise, with death, it's pretty intense.
I think so. From people who are high up, very wealthy, and have power. I mean, it's terrifying.
Well, so what do we think was happening here? I mean, what's the meta analysis?
I think when I look at Epstein's schedule, when I look at how his day was, a lot of the emails, the emails came out Friday, it's now Wednesday. So for 5 or 6 days, I've been going through them. And a lot of his emails were about financial dealings, about investing in big companies, healthcare advances. And then it's almost at 5 o'clock on the dot. It was where's my pussy? Where's the girls? Where's the dinner? Where's the this? Where's the that? And it was his escape with sex, however he could get it. Emails with Jean-Luc Brunel, the model scout from France.
Who also killed himself.
Who also, allegedly killed himself, sending him videos of girls and saying, "Oh, this is the Swedish girl. Have you seen this video yet? She's going to come next week." Just the arrangements they would make with different girls. It was an incredible list of his lifestyle was really broad. And yeah, sure, Epstein was a financier. He wasn't just a pervert.
Right.
But being perverted was his hobby.
Right. And so I'm trying to parse out the human part of this. In other words, when people got sucked into this, it seemed to me that they were either sucked in by money, sex, or both, or they were pedophiles, and this was the only way they could really act that out.
You're talking about the predators or
the people who hung around. I mean, why did somebody hung around? Why did Trump kick him out of Mar-a-Lago and other people went, "Oh, this guy's cool. I gotta be around him." It's money and sex, right? He was offering things that people wanted.
Epstein seemed to understand how to set up businesses and bank accounts.
Money.
To really yield on investments.
Yeah,
to really
so
make
money.
good decisions.
And he threw the best parties
And by the way, there's, Mike Benz thinks he has a whole CIA thing going on here too, that they're still trying to parse out.
I mean, for sure, absolutely. But listen, not all men have game, okay? I'm a 30-year-old single girl. It's embarrassing what men can't fucking figure out how to do to speak to a woman. So if you just have Jeffrey Epstein presenting you women who are ready, willing, and able, it takes away your bad personality.
They didn't have Tinder back then. They didn't have dating apps. Jeffrey Epstein was the app.
I think
There's no Raya.
that is the sickness and the frailty of the human being right there, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, there's some people that I saw some emails of people It seemed to be, it looked to me like they were so interested in his money and lifestyle, and they wanted to sell him something or be near him and be a part of it.
They said he had
And
aura.
then other people wanted the sex. And then what I didn't see evidence of was the full-on pedophile group. I don't know, where are they? They've got to be in there somewhere.
I found a photo album of a Epstein and Clinton vacation, and it was about.
And by the way, let me say, Epstein himself clearly pedophile, right? That's the pedophile in charge. But I'm not sure. Did he traffic in pedophiles, bringing them in?
I think
he did that for himself.
I think that Epstein and Jean-Luc Brunel would say to girls, I think there were different categories of women, and especially early on in like the late 90s, early 2000s, where it was like, oh, you want to be in Victoria's Secret? You want to be a model?
It was all manipulation. And by the way, I've spoken to some of the survivors, and they really, oftentimes this is the case, they're really blaming Ghislaine, because like she was the groomer. She was groomed them and did all the your special.
She was waiting outside high schools of low income communities. She didn't go to the rich high schools. She would go to the ones.
I've talked to a few that were kind of well off, but they were kind of.
Imagine you're at a high school. I remember there was like a weird guy at my park once, and like our staff was like, "Oh my God, there's some guy in the parking lot." Imagine if it was Ghislaine Maxwell. Like it's so creepy.
Yeah. But she didn't have to hang out at those schools. She would.
He wired her $23 million.
She had to find high schoolers. They didn't want. They didn't want old washed up girls like us. They wanted high schoolers, fresh meat,
I
virgins.
Understand. No, I get that he wanted the youngins. I get it. But she would go, "You're so special. We see something special in you.
Love bombing.
You love bombing and
you'd be such a good massage. We'll teach you how to do massage here, and then you can go get a really good job being a massage technication, whatever the word is.
Plus, they were offering money.
Just rub his feet. He likes his feet to be rubbed.
Exactly.
Yeah.
He would give money, and the only way the girl could get out was he would say, "Well, you're not allowed to leave unless you find another high schooler to replace you." So that was the system.
Is that in the emails somewhere?
That's been out for a long time, even before the email dropped and the testimonies.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so, what were the surprises for you guys in these documents?
The fertility rumors that we had heard about Zorro Ranch. So Epstein had several different properties, and the most famous is Little St. James Island, as well as a New York mansion. But the Zorro Ranch in New Mexico, I believe, is not spoken about a ton. But what we do know, the little we do know, is that it was likely a place where he had a lot of like fertility things happening.
What does that mean?
He was banking his sperm and the sperm of his billionaire genius friends.
What?
And he wanted that place to be a compound to just inject women and like create babies, just create more, kind of like how, Elon is doing, just like more people like me.
Yeah, but at least he had, like, they were awake.
It's not like Elon, correct. Yeah. It's not like Elon, but I'm saying a concept of saying, I'm a man with a lot of intelligence. You would want babies that are like me with my DNA.
So is it a sperm bank? Why just make it an expensive sperm bank?
Right. And maybe that was the intention. And then I don't know what happened. But I think that, when I typed in fertility to justice.gov/Epstein last night, and I typed in fertility, there showed a lot of research that he was doing, computer files he had regarding research and fertility, and then, appointments he was making with these different offices in Palm Beach and in New York to have his sperm in different banks with different girlfriends, also on the emails, to be like, hey, you're going to ovulate this day. Prepare for this thing,
Wow. What are we going to call him? What is his?
Manson Part 2.
Is he like full psychopath monster?
He was obsessed that physics could explain everything except for love and desire and sexual attraction. Therefore, he must get to the bottom of it. And then he just spun out.
He sure did.
Where
did you see that? Where did he?
He did an interview. I feel like it was with Steve Bannon, maybe, and he was saying, that the one thing physics can't explain is chemistry. Why are we attracted to people? And he just would go like Jeffrey.
Why are we attracted to children?
He loved hosting dinner parties where he was like the person that said the smartest thing. So this was like his.
But
version.
then, if you look at the emails, the guy couldn't spell. Like people are saying that's the most insane part of this whole thing is this how much they're emailing. We didn't know people emailed this much. And then second, the guy couldn't spell a thing.
Oh, is that right?
But that most wealthy people I've ever met can't spell. So I'm almost like, was literature like a trick? Like, were we
dyslexia or something?
Yeah, I don't know. It's a common thing.
I think his thumbs were really big, and he was on Blackberries.
He looks like he has
and you
toe
can tell.
thumbs.
Yeah,
but
you
I
can
haven't
tell.
seen an image. It's probably redacted because everything is redacted.
So
like
much.
this email I want to bring up.
Okay, before you do, a quick question about the fertility thing. Do we know, is there any evidence of actual biological offspring?
There was one victim who said that she believed that she saw a photo of Ghislaine Maxwell pregnant framed in the Palm Beach home. And the attorney said that's not possible. But she's like, no, I promise you, Ghislaine Maxwell has had Jeffrey Epstein's baby.
That was her dream, wasn't it? She was in love with him.
She was in love with him.
And then what about all these, then when things get really, anybody could report anything on these FBI files.
Sure.
There was some wacky shit in there. Where's the line between reality and just wackiness?
Well, that's what the
Where's the
internet doesn't
Pizzagate?
allow for that.
Where's the Pizzagate in this?
Yeah.
Well, okay, for example, this email, this has been going around the internet today. And I was like, this looks a little bit fake. Okay. I'm going to go to so if anyone's watching and you think something looks a little weird, go to the actual website and then
justice.gov/Epstein is the website.
And then just type in the keyword. And this one is an email to Jeffrey Epstein on March 11th, 2014. And it says, thank you for a fun night. Your littlest girl was a little naughty.
Oh, yeah, I heard about that.
It's confirmed it is real. But the weird part here is that they're redacting the sender. Why? So we're not getting the transparency we're promised.
Well, so that's the next layer to all this. What's going to happen to these MFers?
Probably absolutely
How
nothing.
is that possible? The world.
Although they did say Bill Gates is going to be speaking.
I mean,
under oath.
Bill Gates was caught in an email saying, I caught an STD. How do I give my wife medication for an STD without her knowing?
That to me is one of the most grossly unethical moments I've ever come across.
Mr. Vaccination himself showing no regard for anyone's consent.
STDs don't care about your bank account.
Yeah, but anyone
can get them.
That's such a violation of just fundamental human ethics. Like you're going to expose her to an illness and then treat her for it. None of it without her knowledge.
Because he just didn't want her to know. And I think it's a lot of guys do that and women. I think people lie.
There's guys and there's Bill Gates who pushed the vaccination on all of us.
Wait a minute.
Men and women,
of people do this?
Men and women, especially in LA, lie about the STDs they have.
That's true.
There's Facebook groups
I'm
about
sure
it.
of that.
Yeah.
But in terms of then also treating
But Bill
somebody
Gates, they don't treat them. They just lie and then they leave and you never see that guy again.
Spiking her eggs.
I can't.
Spiking her eggs, with amoxicillin or something. With
Bill Gates is
Zithromax.
backpedaling. Like, did you see his new?
Yeah, I didn't. His little mea culpa was not a mea culpa at all. It was
and then his wife just spoke, and she's trying to say like,
it's sad.
A lot of people are holding the wife accountable, saying like, I don't want to hear it until you expose this, and that. They're saying like, you were complicit
in what?
The horrors that women endure.
Oh, this is
till death.
But again. Okay, let's take Bill Gates, for instance. I know of no evidence that he was a pedophile, right? No actual evidence. There's evidence that he was doing.
He was yeah.
He was doing stuff.
A little dirty.
Yeah, with women.
He cheated.
That he may have manipulated, cheated on his wife. He was whatever was going on there.
Girl.
But I think anybody that did anything unsavory with Epstein immediately gets pedophile labeled. Boom.
What I was saying earlier was I found a vacation photo, whatever, pages and pages, photos and photos of Epstein and Clinton on vacation in Morocco with really skinny girls who their faces are blurred out, but we see their bodies and we see that they're wearing like really tight clothes. They're very tiny bodies and they're laying in bed, or there's one where like Epstein's over a yoga ball and the girl's over him. And there's like his face is blurred out, Bill Clinton's is blurred out, and hers is blurred out. I don't know how much more these women can give besides their testimony, their integrity, their truth.
I agree. And I feel like it's kind of rude to even ask. Like how many, we have thousands of witnesses. We have 3 million files. And then there's people still saying, well, we still need to see the proof.
Yeah, there's not enough.
Was George Clooney, was that a AI picture with him with Epstein, or was that?
Oh, I didn't see that one.
For real?
Typed his name in.
Okay.
Didn't think about that.
Okay. And again, no, I have no knowledge, nothing, and no wrongdoing, no whatever.
This could shake up the whole industry.
Of what? What industry?
Everything. Politics, Hollywood. There's a lot of people named in both. And people are so sick of it. They're so sick of the system.
Yeah, I agree with you. The political part is kind of interesting, though, because the Democrats had these documents for for a
But
long
they're
time.
in him too.
Yeah, but then when there was some belief that they could somehow tag something with Trump in the documents, then they became enthusiastic about releasing them.
Of course.
And now it's blown up in their face. It's coming back to
Strategy.
them.
Yeah.
and their
I mean,
people.
everyone's exposed. Annie Farmer did that interview clip that I posted that got 3 million views because no one's arguing in the comments. That's very rare. And she's up on the stand at the Epstein Transparency Act in Washington, and she's talking about how this is not a partisan issue, that Bush covered it up.
Yeah.
Obama covered it up. Biden administration covered it up. So everyone agreed on that. And she talks about her sister, Maria Farmer, endured years and years of abuse and bullying. And now we're seeing emails from Maria in the tips talking about how this little mafia, the same people that bullied Virginia, were smearing her.
Same people that bullied Monica Lewinsky.
Right. Well,
And you know who liked that video was Monica Lewinsky. And Monica Lewinsky put out a statement today saying, like, I just want to send out love to survivors because I know how it feels.
She's the OG for sure.
Caleb, why don't you ask this question? Because I know nothing about what you're talking about here.
What's Caleb saying?
Yeah, as you all know, my pet conspiracy theory is that
Wait, hold on.
Epstein is.
Are you hearing him? Hold on. Emily's trying to get the earpiece in.
I can't see it in your hair. I'm so sorry.
It got lost. What the heck, dude? What have you done with that thing?
Okay.
Got
It's going to be another hanging here. We're talking about Epstein's autopsy pictures. You gotta go.
The tribal tattoo. Is it
Go
real?
ahead.
Is it fake?
Caleb, go ahead.
Yeah, so I mean, everyone knows my pet conspiracy theory is that Epstein is still alive because he would obviously have a dead man switch. That switch hasn't gone off. That means the man's not dead, along with a list of other things. But I've also noticed that some people are going a bit even further than I am, and they are kind of inventing things by looking at the files and looking at stuff and not actually going into the actual research. For example, one of the rabbit holes I almost went down was the fact that there's photos of Epstein with this arm tattoo, like a spiky arm tattoo, but then that same tattoo doesn't appear in his autopsy photos. And people were saying, well, that's obviously a different person. But when you look deeper into the emails, you actually find emails in there that are saying he's looking into tattoo removal services and that the tattoo might have been a temporary tattoo.
Yeah. I let me handle this because I don't think you know anything. No offense about the tribal tattoo, or do you?
I want you to go.
Do you know about it?
Don't worry, I'll go when you're done.
I rabbit holed the tribal tattoo today.
I want you to go. Go on, girl.
This is maybe all I know. It's weird because today Thomas Massey replied to this X tweet saying, you know, this tribal tattoo, oh no, he got it removed. Here's the document where he's emailing. But then if you read it, it's from 2010. Which is before this second picture was taken where the tattoo is still visible. And it's just him inquiring about the cost of a tattoo removal service. And it was pretty cheap. It was like $200-300. And there's no correspondence. We don't see an email where he booked an appointment.
He also did not like any of his girls to have tattoos. So that email could have been about anything. I also want to say, the conversation of tattoos, I understand we want to make sure that things are legitimate. That's why the arm tattoo on Epstein's coming up. But also, like, if you're going to give 45 minutes to this Epstein conversation, please make sure you're giving 46 minutes to the other things you are questioning the legitimacy of. Because this tattoo thing is like really like not important. Not that important.
Well, it is if we're trying to figure out if he's still alive or not.
Well, but
yeah.
But I also felt like the picture, the way he was laying, like it looked a little bit too low. The way it almost looked like the tattoo could have been under like the cast thing.
Oh.
Right.
Caleb?
So Emilie, so wait. So what you just said is basically that has been double debunked. So it could actually still be something to look into more based on the timeline of the
we need to go deeper, Caleb.
Okay, so
no,
what
now you got
are
me back
the
on the
important
train.
things we need to be?
No, because
No.
Earlier today, I said to the group chat, I said, quite frankly, I'm not interested in a tribal tattoo. So I get where you're coming from.
Yeah.
But then as I started deep diving it more, I was like, this is something we need to look
Brianna,
into.
what are the important things?
What type of power was used as leverage? Was it modeling contracts? Was it threats of violence? Was it promise to access? Who went to what lengths to cover it up? And
What if it was just access?
And that's embarrassing for everyone. That's a that's interested in fame. It's American dream, American
But it
downfall.
could be also access to money and access to parties, just people.
It's complicated. The human desires, you know,
I think that's what he was playing on. I think that's the main.
And a lot of
headliner.
his emails that are interesting in this drop is he likes to talk about time travel, like psychology. He was interested in. He really thought he knew a lot. He really thought a lot about himself.
Yes,
intellectually.
He did. Yes.
Yeah.
He
so
was
it makes
pretty
sense
smart.
he wanted children in the room because it makes him feel even smarter.
He
Had Dr. Drew
was-
been in the room, I don't know how confident. This cycle could have maybe stopped.
This guy
was not
really
in the
had to have
room.
been a psychopath. Real psychopath. Real
It's
deal
like that
psychopath.
guy that wants to like read their book naked to you, and you're like, "Whoa!" Like that's how
I hope you have not had that happen.
oddly
someone
specific.
asked that once, and I'm like,
Yeah.
"No." One time, a guy asked me, and my friends, he's like, "I just wrote a book. Do you mind if I like masturbate and read this book to you?" And I was like, "Can you leave my house?" He goes,
People
"I just
don't know what it's like to date.
He goes, "I just figured I would ask." He's like, "It's just a weird kink for
It's
me."
either that or play Wonderwall on the acoustic guitar.
Right.
Like,
I'm
fucking
so-
take
I'm
it out.
Honestly,
so-
that might be worse.
I'm
might be
embarrassed by
worse.
Both are
everybody.
equally awful. Wonderwall might be worse.
I get very embarrassed by all my peers with Y chromosomes.
Yeah.
But so
apologizes
keep
for
going.
his
So I
gender.
interrupted you. You were saying the human piece, which I'm fascinated by.
Right. The human desire. I mean, he was so intelligent. He knew a lot about human behavior, so he knew how to play that. I found an email last night where he sent to a girl and he said, "Here's the 3 rules for dinner parties. First, never say fuck. Second, never give a man your opinion. You're still in your 20s. They do not care what you think. And even in your 30s, they might not care that much either." And the third was, you need to invest in yourself and you can't just assume you're going to marry rich. You need to find something and like be passionate, and I'll pay for whatever schooling you need.
That was part of the grooming process right there. He did that a number of times.
And, and the girl replied and goes, "Thank you so much. You're changing my life. I promise I'll be better." She's in her 20s.
Ugh. Now I'm embarrassed by all the X
it was
chromosomes.
actually hearing Epstein's voice on the phone. I'd never heard it until last night.
It's a Brooklyn swagger.
It just
Did you see any? Did
he
you see any
sounds
of the,
a lot different
did
than
you-
I expected.
Did you see the depositions and things? Did you see any of that stuff?
What do you mean?
He did video depositions.
I just started watching them. Like up until now, like there
There's
was
a
not a
documentary
lot.
about him. The couple of documentaries.
I watched it, but it was his call with Ayub Barak. I don't know if I'm not saying his name correctly, but it was a call where Epstein's telling the Israeli, is he the prime minister, Caleb?
No, he was the head of the military.
Military defense or
Yeah,
something. So
yeah.
he was stepping down, and Epstein was trying to tell him, like, this is how you're going to enter the private sector.
I look at the
You're
Nancy Pelosi syndrome. How do they make a bunch of money
so
from
he was
government?
teaching
That's what he was
people
teaching
how to
them,
do it, and his suggestion was, I heard there's this guy that like runs everything named Peter Thiel. I don't know him, but I'm going to meet him soon. And then he was like, how do you spell it? And then Epstein was like, PALAENTIER. And then Ayub like repeats it back. So now today on X, everyone's like, Epstein didn't know how to spell Palantir.
Sure.
But it does show that he was saying in that call that people owed him favors, and that was the leverage for him to move into this private sector and still stay wealthy.
Yep. That makes sense. Go ahead. So human frailty.
I mean, power and manipulation. I don't know how much more I can give you, Dr. Drew.
But how about the people that were?
What's the answer you're looking for?
No, I'm not looking for an answer. 'Cause I'm kind of fascinated by the people that are turned on by all that. The ones that go towards it.
Dorks.
Like
Go towards it as in like, they're like, oh, I would have done the same thing. I would have been okay with it, or?
it reminds me of physicians who take care of famous people and get turned on by it. And they, like Conrad Murray, they always end up in a fucking disaster. It's always a disaster. It's always because your judgment is off. Of course the celebrity goes, "Oh, you're the best doctor. Only you can help me." And it's like, oh.
And then they get to go tell that story to their friends.
Well, more importantly, it's if they want medications and some sleeping pills and some painkillers, and then you don't do it, I'm going to destroy your career. You're the worst doctor ever. Then they get stuck in it. But the whole thing kind of reminds me of that. People are like, "Oh, this guy's got so much money and so much influence. Maybe I can start a business, or maybe you can." And then while I'm there, oh my God, these hot chicks. So who the fuck knows how people?
Well, people
get
really
sucked into this thing.
really wanted Epstein's approval, and they wanted his backing.
Yeah.
For example, Kanye recently just signed over with Gamma Records, and that's Larry Jackson. And Larry Jackson's name was found in the documents, and it's somebody emailing Epstein saying, "I've got this guy that's into music. He's really great, blah, blah, blah." And Epstein replies like, "Cool," basically something like, "Cool story, bro. I just need to see the numbers." So Epstein was very like, about the money.
Yeah.
But
And everyone wanted a piece of it in the business world. And at that time, Larry Jackson probably didn't even know. He might not have known what Epstein. He might not even know that guy was speaking on his behalf.
Yeah.
But I don't think everyone going into it knew.
Dr. Drew, if you're asking how to cure people's lack of discernment and desire for...
No, I'm not.
Okay.
I'm just... I hope people can learn a lesson from this, that you should, your ethical compass has to be in front of you all the time. You got to have due north. Just know where due north is. Don't lose your way.
Well, and how do we teach girls, like, you're young and you are beautiful, and maybe when you walk into a room, you feel like maybe people are looking at you, it's because they are.
They all came from fucked up families, so the first thing would be good families, right?
Well, you can't do that with the teacher's education, things online.
And then my profession needs to the extent that they can, help them
accessible.
if they're going sideways,
Yeah.
And then we have to create consequences for this. So that's my next question.
And it doesn't.
Who's going to get hurt? Who's going to get hurt? And remember, you have to be able to prove this in a court of law.
I wanted to start with a journalist who covered it up for a long time. I wanted to start with a journalist in the media who knew these stories for decades in New York City and didn't tell the stories and silenced the Miami reporters like Julie K. Brown who tried to make a difference and were not allowed to.
Mm-hmm.
Start with the media and say, we know that you shut up because you wanted to go to the parties and the money and then this and then that, but if you're going to...
Is that her?
This is a stupid story.
No, she tried to speak out and they cut her off.
Out that we had
the people like Jessica Krause on Substack, who's made hundreds, I don't know how much money she's made
over
the
$1
last
million.
2 years, saying that these victims are all liars. Why she should be deplatformed. Substack should be ashamed of themselves for making so much money on the backs of teenage survivors, honestly. And then the politicians, that's a pipe dream, Dr. Drew. But as someone in the media, I personally would like to see the media held responsible first and then the politicians. But I don't know where to start.
And how what would that mechanism be?
Well, I think all of us need to keep coming together because they probably weren't even going to, if we didn't keep pushing it online and like that, we really put the pressure on them. Massey put the pressure on them.
Well, Massey has
Rokana, they all put the pressure on.
And Massey has another bill apparently he's presenting to be able to get the rest of it.
He wants the rest of it. He said,
everything.
We're not done fighting.
and the CIA part apparently is in that.
This is not sufficient.
Yeah.
But let's just sort of look at what we have. What you've gotten is a big download, a lot of stuff. Are you satisfied? Did it do, why are we so interested?
It's too early to tell. There's 3 million files. Today I'm looking up cream cheese and I know Jeffrey Epstein's bagel order. He like in New York, like there's emails and emails about his diet, which was pretty good. Like,
Did you look up
meat. But
did you look up torture? Because I know some stuff came out on
we
that.
We did. Yeah, it wasn't great. He had fun. Being in power over women, young women. Especially.
Oh, wow. Influencer who was photographed celebrating with a binder of Epstein documents is now ripping into his victims.
Who could that be about?
Someone we unfortunately used to work for. And we are a little bit annoyed because we're like, we had no idea this was happening.
It's on our resumes now. It's on our LinkedIn.
I don't have a resume.
My whole portfolio, a lot of my portfolio is under the umbrella of a woman who bullied Virginia Giuffre
and Maria Farmer.
And continues to?
Oh, yesterday she said she wants to frame the Epstein Files and put it up in her Laguna Beach office.
And they
are using it as a badge of honor because they have to double down. Because if she admits, I was a parrot for Prince Andrew and Ghislaine Maxwell, her entire brand and credibility is dead.
So
she has to pretend this is just one big joke. And that she's going to frame it and get a little frame from CB2 and put it up next to her flamingo estate candle. And then do a little seance.
And then we didn't really get into the wacky stuff, eating babies and all these kind of things.
I haven't gotten down that rabbit hole yet. Have you?
I typed in ritual, really nothing came up.
Yeah, ritual,
I typed in cannibal,
massage.
only one joke came up.
So I think we should be
I heard an email where they talked about should I do her or should I torture her, and they
there was one email about torture.
But I think we should be very circumspect about things that are reported. People are calling in FBI reports and stuff. It's one thing to have email evidence. It's another thing to go, somebody reported that George Bush was in there. I don't know what that is.
George Bush was having gay sex.
I think we should definitely use our discernment when we're going through the files. Yeah. And there's also people that are obviously grifting on X that are making fake photos to go viral and make money.
Putting paywalls up on.
Yeah, and people putting C-scam behind a paywall. Like, it's sick. But I think if you just look through it, you can decide for yourself.
Yeah.
Caleb,
It's not like people knew that. It's not like people now were just submitting stuff. This is like years and years of tips.
I understand. I get it. Caleb, is there something wrong with our restream? I'm suddenly unable to get any of the chat there.
We just got canceled.
Did we get kicked off something?
I think we're still up.
I know we're not
still
on
up.
TikTok, but
What's really making me upset is that there's these mega influencers that were just, I hate those dirty Dems. We're going to get them dirty Dems. And then
They're what?
We're going to get those dirty Dems. We care about the children. And now they are saying nothing, crickets. It's like they are told to shut up. And instead, they're deflecting by talking about, oh God, Bad Bunny is going to be at a dress. And it's like, we got to go watch Kid Rock.
Oh my.
Sing Picture at the Super Bowl. And it's like, you guys, what do you actually stand for? And I feel like if more people could just be brave and not care what these white men or whatever color they are in the suits.
Yeah.
Well, these old fucks, why do they care? Like, why are they trying to get the approval? Like, I've been to these political parties. They are not that fun.
They're not that fun.
I have to take Adderall and do shots to enjoy myself. So that's when I know I'm not having a good time, if I have to be drunk.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying.
So these people are like giving up their careers for a check and to get approval.
It's like people who are never cool for their whole lives, and they turn 42 and they get one chance to go to a party and they'll throw everything away just to finally their whole lives waited to like feel alive. And now they're like, the dopamine of these likes on Instagram, and President Trump like says I'm smart and he knows me by name. It's like, oh my God, can something else matter to you? Can your dopamine come from anything else, please?
Yeah. It's really embarrassing.
Do you think that same feeling also applies to the people who got involved in Epstein? Like in a way of like, these were old nerds that never
Caleb,
had.
that's the whole
That's
point.
the irony. That's the irony of it.
That's the whole point. Yeah.
Yeah.
It
really is very interesting whenever you start to
cycle
realize.
Continues.
It's really interesting to see some of these people that they're like literal billionaires and at the top of their field, and yet have this horrible imposter syndrome that never goes away, no matter how much money they make.
Wow.
Like they still
I don't think
feel
it matters
like
how much
they're
money
weak.
you make.
Imposter
like,
syndrome.
when I have $100 or $1, I feel the same.
Let me ask this.
You're different.
Back to the sexual part of it. It just occurred to me. Why don't they just hire a madam and have prostitutes?
It's not exciting. They want to go to an island.
Also,
Or maybe they did. Maybe they also did that.
Dominatrix are performers. Some people like want to see the fear in someone's eyes when they're raping them. Like men really do enjoy that.
Yeah.
I can't. See, I'm naive. I really am. I have denial about that. It's like,
do you have any terrible friends?
Not like that.
Okay, that's good.
Do you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've cut them off.
I mean,
I also, sometimes you don't know your friends are into that stuff. Like, I bet a lot of people are looking at the files surprised by some of the things that they're finding out.
I'm shocked.
Yeah.
I'm shocked.
Is there anything that shocked you so far?
Yeah, well, I've learned to accept anything. I see the word whatever is on my lips all the time. Whatever, it's okay. But a lot of things shock me all the time.
But in this release?
The whole thing makes me, I'm like, sex addiction is writ large in a lot of this.
Yeah.
And the fact that it's untreated and, people don't identify it and we're not having that conversation about it bothers me. And the whole thing makes me feel sad. I'm like Melinda Gates.
Mm-hmm.
It's all very sad.
I feel like if some of these people came forward and they were honest and said, this is what happened.
Yeah.
I mean, Peter Attill told his story, but these men have to take accountability. Now it's out and it's time to really, address that.
I agree.
And get
maybe
them
if
help.
one comes forward, maybe the others would
come forward and say, I'm so sorry. I was goated. I was tempted and I'm so sorry.
I was lose my job. I had kids
or
I had
they
to
saw
support.
it and they didn't report it. Like Peter Attill is a mandated reporter.
Oh, I don't think you saw it. There's no way.
Well, they're making jokes about women and he's sending pictures and, but it just had to be clear to some of these guys.
People are saying, I don't want to always bring things to Kanye, but today I was like, I did see a tweet that's going viral right now. And it says, why did Kanye have to take out an entire page apology in the Wall Street Journal to apologize for some statements he made? But not a single Epstein predator has to say anything, and there's no consequences.
People invented the phrase "locker room talk," the phrases that they've made for boys' club to normalize this stuff way long ago. I mean, that's why they protected themselves already culturally with those things.
So, by the way,
but about Kanye,
Kanye's looking pretty good right now, right?
You think?
I mean, the Clintons.
By comparison,
I mean,
he apologized.
He apologized, because he had to. He's banned from performing in the United States.
I don't see anybody else apologizing for
Kanye
the
looks
Epstein group.
Grammys.
Kanye looks good.
yeah.
I thought you meant like he's in shape.
No,
like,
I'm saying he's looking compared
He
to
looks
the
great
other.
at the Grammys.
He's a superfood bar, if you ask me.
I think Kanye's doing great. I think the fact that he does feel some remorse and does feel some guilt for how come no one else?
We've had conversations about other influence peddlers and things, but I think the 70s was such a horrible decade, and so much of these attitudes in men got cultivated then. This is where they cut their teeth. Weinstein came out of the 70s. Epstein came out of the 70s. They were raised on this idea that, hey man, whatever you're into, it's all cool. And it was to me, that's the most destructive decade in American history, in my opinion.
I agree.
I wasn't there.
I was there, and I watched it, and it was not good.
We were there.
It wasn't as fun as people make it out to be.
I was an adolescent. It all rained down on us.
Is that why you're a psychologist now?
I mean, he was on Loveline for 25 years.
Did you wear
30
bell-bottoms?
years talking about sex.
You did?
Of course.
You did?
Everybody who did.
We need to see those photos, Caleb.
Did anybody not wear bell bottoms in 1976? I mean, if you had short hair, you had to have hair had to cover your ear. Even look at Captain Steuben on the Love Boat, completely bald, little room of hair, had to come over his ear.
Important.
It had to be blow dried over his ear. This was the weirdest thing.
Which brings me to another question, like the drug situation in Epstein Island. Is there like proof of them doing a lot of drugs?
Very sober.
I mean, when I saw the picture of Andrew with that woman who laid dead on the floor and was looking up, he looked like he had been using drugs for a really long time.
Yeah. Have we confirmed that photo is real?
I'm not quite sure. I know Jeffrey himself, a lot of people have said that he was very sober, but I don't think he would mind if those around him were completely inebriated.
Yeah, I haven't found a lot of stuff about drugs in the documents yet. That was... I have a lot of
about it.
I thought I saw something like it said he wanted the girls sober. I thought I read that he preferred the women, girls and women, whoever it was,
Females,
children, sober.
That's even more bizarre.
I think in one of the documents, I think it said we do not want you coming over drunk. It's like
power is an aphrodisiac.
They did not want. Whereas Diddy, on the other hand, always was giving Molly and giving. It was a totally different scenario. And I also am like. Think about how much Diddy went through.
Diddy.
But like, how come none of the people in the Epstein files are having to say anything?
Because he's dead.
But not all of the predators and the co-conspirators are still alive.
How many women do they think have died from this incident?
Well, definitely one in Michigan whose baby was like thrown off a boat. Do you guys not know that story?
No.
Okay. There was a teenage girl that was allegedly impregnated by a president. And when she gave birth, her uncle, who was friends with the alleged president, allegedly took the baby and threw it into the Lake Michigan.
Is
that been verified or is that just a tip?
That was part of the files.
Okay. So are they going to investigate that? I guess that's what we need to find out.
No one's telling me what the FBI's future plans are.
I didn't know if you were fed.
Which president?
The sitting president, I believe, right? It's about the sitting president?
I believe it's about the sitting president.
Trump?
Mm-hmm. That was like one of the first things that came out the other day. It was all over.
Huh.
I'm surprised I didn't catch you guys. That
Did
was
you
a
guys
big
see
one.
Trump's response to the CNN reporter that asked, hey, how do you feel about the justice for survivors?
Let's talk about this. Let's talk about...
He said you don't smile and you never smile.
You don't smile. You don't... that's the problem with you. You never smile.
What's the psychology of that? When a reporter who is credentialed, who goes through a lot to get credentials, is trying to ask a decades-long job to be a reporter in the White House.
She also wasn't accusing him of anything.
Just asking a question. What's the psychology?
I had to watch for a long time the daily 1 hour podcast from a guy named Scott Adams, who is a persuasion and hypnotist expert and cartoonist. Yeah. And I had a little Trump derangement in 16. And he said, no, this is a technique he uses. He's been trained to do this by these various, he had all these different schools of thought in this. And I know nothing about persuasion. And so I'm like, okay, tell me more. And it kind of calmed me down. Like he apparently has some sort of some technique he's using. And this, when he does stuff that seem inexplicable to me, like this is one of them, apparently there's usually some sort of intent behind it. If you were a hypnotist, you'd understand it. Or there's a guy named Cialdini that does persuasion that sort of, they all sign off on this stuff. And to me, it just looks
Here's the thing. Trump knows that his really loyal followers are going to not care what he does, because if
Turn a blind eye.
if there was a video of him doing anything, they're going to say it's AI. And then the people that have TDS, they are going to pretend a video exists of him. So it's like people have made up their minds about Donald Trump.
But this is the world we live in.
And that's the thing.
Emily,
we live in the kind of this
And then
world.
a few of us live in the middle.
Yeah, I try to live there, and we live in this world that's sort of it's. I don't want to say it's post-truth, but it's where you can look at something and two people can have the entirely different perception of what
That's
happened.
exactly what I was writing about the other day.
Yeah.
It's called like the art of confusion. Right now, I think AI and these companies, they know we are being bombarded with information. So they are using AI images to make us doubt our own two eyes.
Yep.
And that's why people are starting to not trust that. Yeah, we don't know what to trust anymore.
Yep.
So we're just going to believe whatever truth we decide on. It's easier.
Sheesh. We have to come up with a way of.
It's going to be a time of collective intuition. If we're going to have any real change, it's going to be because people go, you know what, you're not going to fool me anymore. I don't care what you think you're going to tell me. We've lived through enough conspiracies in the last 26 years, right? Like 9/11 was like the first one a lot of us went through. So I think that it's about collective intuition at this point.
All right, so let's kind of wrap this up. You guys have been very passionate, kind in terms of sharing.
I like that.
I actually do agree with Susan, though. Once I saw he can wear the green. I feel bad I said it wasn't the color in the beginning. I'm now noticing it
looks good on
green
him.
works.
his eyes have that color in them.
Yeah,
but he is a winter, I think.
Okay, so
A winter?
Yeah.
Winter colors?
So Drew
Not
likes
fall?
wearing the same
Yeah.
thing every day. And I keep telling him, people are going to be watching your streams because I retweet. And when you see him on the show and he comes on with the same color, people are just going to think
it's the same episode.
yeah. So I'm like, you got to wear a hat today.
He's
or
like
something.
Simon Cowell.
Yeah.
She's a businesswoman.
Bunch of
over
black
there.
t-shirts.
Well, it's just he has this amazing wardrobe, and I'm like, why do you wear the same thing every day? I mean, he was wearing really old T-shirts too, and they're all messed up. And I was like, put on one of the nice ones.
Sweet.
Thank God
Wear
you have
some
Susan.
color.
Thank God.
I even changed
I
the
know.
backdrop a little bit. I made it a little bluer.
Oh yeah, all of a sudden it's blue.
Yeah,
I like that,
changed it
'cause I think it's normally
When did you
purple.
do that? I haven't noticed it
the
till
other,
now.
yeah, I did. I have all these lights. I think it's fun.
Okay, so let's kind of wrap it up.
This was really
What's
interesting.
coming?
It's
What should we?
I'm glad you guys are going into this dark place.
I told Emily we need to be pacing ourselves and give ourselves milestones. Like next week, Ghislaine Maxwell will be speaking in front of Congress. So
When?
I'm so sorry. Forgive me. I think it's next Friday.
And what is the point of that?
She's going to be, she wants to name names. She goes, please give me my freedom. I'm not going
She knows what
down
she's
for all
doing.
these men.
She's got leverage right now, and she knows how to play with it.
So do you think it's going to happen? Or is she going to use
Yes.
that leverage just to get out of
I
jail?
don't think that they announce congressional conversations that aren't going to happen.
And what are the hearings? What are the nature of those hearings?
To give more
Justice Department?
information. Maybe she wasn't interested in giving up names before.
So
Maybe
these are Epstein
she's
file
dying to
hearings.
get out.
Maybe they're more desperate now than they were before. Maybe her lawyer's
Okay.
Barbie Sternheim has the greatest security clearance anyone on the planet can have. I'm sure her lawyers have not stopped working for her since her sentencing.
So that will be very interesting, right?
Right.
So that'll be, should we call that actually accurate, whatever she does, whatever she
It
says?
will be intriguing, and I'm sure we'll set off more information. And if we keep pacing ourselves out like this, this is stamina. This is a test of stamina. It's not about
so let's not get all spun out of shape about what's out there so far, unless something really surprising comes out of the files, which we don't expect, right?
Of course we expect it.
Well, not until Thomas Massey gets the release of everything.
I think no, if we just discovered today that Prince Andrew photo is real because someone just came across that email, just picture how many more like things we haven't discovered yet.
Okay. So
much lying has been
so you're
going on.
expecting little, so where should people follow you, Brianna, by the way?
Brianna Logan _ on Instagram.
Spell Brianna.
BRIANNALOGAN _.
Okay. And that's on Instagram?
Instagram and Substack, yes.
And Emily knows everything, Instagram and Substack.
With an
and,
IE.
And you guys are going to be looking for these pearls.
We
These sort of
have
gems.
been doing that for 5 days straight. We'll
Yeah.
continue. I flew in from Brooklyn to be here and to do this together, and we're kind of just like all systems go right now.
Yeah.
And have we covered adequately the territory today?
No,
I have
we
a
didn't even get
question
close.
from
but-
Ed.
No. I mean, are you satisfied with the conversation so far today? Or is there territory we didn't get into? You want
There's a question on X that I want to mention.
Go ahead.
Let me
Kelly,
see if there's anything.
KIL 33256
Okay.
on X. I was just looking over here because we lost the
doesn't
stream,
sound
the
fake.
restream thing, so you can't see their questions, but
Yes.
YouTube's still there. But anyways, they want to know about the kids that are already harmed. And that's a really good question because
What to do about the kids?
a lot of the not coming clean is because people are going to get sued and people are going to,
Their lawyers are
civilly
probably
get
saying,
sued.
Shut up. That's
Not
probably
making
true.
fun of people online is a great way to start. And encouraging others to lead with compassion and to have some values would be a great place to start to change the world.
I like the collective consciousness to call out everything together as one too, because this stuff is just getting so out of control.
I do think good always wins in the end, so I'm hopeful.
But boy, it's taken a long time.
A really long time.
Yeah, you gotta
We
be
need to
very
get
patient.
Susan's show back on the air so
I
we can
know.
find out what some of
Talk to
the
dead people again.
people
So-
are saying on the other side.
By the way, Colby, who's one of her people, texted us
me today.
Yeah,
What'd she
about.
say?
She said immediately.
Don't tell her too much.
Well,
But
that she picked who Savannah Guthrie's mom was picked up by.
Yeah.
She's
Is
like
this the one that they know?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
well, who
knew
they're
it.
suspicious.
Oh,
She,
it's
she said
the-
it before
The brother-in-law.
I don't know
And
if,
sister.
yeah, maybe.
Ashley Banfield's getting a lot of pushback right now for reporting on that.
Really?
Yeah, she may have
Well, it may not be
walked
that,
into
but
a
that's what-
robbery
That's what happens.
and got attacked and then maybe died or whatever. And then
She kept saying,
But
look at the
Nancy
bank
Grace.
accounts.
Nancy Grace was on last night on Hannity, and
Sure
she was
I'm
so
sure she
good.
was.
Yeah. She was good.
She was
What'd she
like,
say?
there were droplets on the floor, and
There
that's
was not
like a
splatter, there
bloody
was
nose.
dry
and
blood.
ripped
Her
down.
Casey Anthony
over-
coverage is why I'm a journalist. I really,
No.
really though. Yeah.
Drew
Because
followed her.
my show was right before hers, and
Oh,
we had
before.
to do Casey
No,
Anthony
you were
because
after.
she was doing it.
I thought you were after
And then we
her.
found Jodi Arias. And it was
Right.
like, oh, this is the best.
Oh yeah, but she
horrors
was in
don't
full
end.
form with her hair and makeup and her look, and just and her makeup was perfect.
Oh, is that so? It's not the brother-in-law. Okay, brother-in-law. not a,
yeah,
That's what the
I think
cops
that's
are
what
currently
Banfield was
denying.
getting some.
They're
Okay.
currently
Denying
denying the
it.
report.
All right.
But then I just recently,
I think
within
it's
the
messed
past
up.
hour, they just put all the crime scene tape back up apparently within the past hour and are digging all around the property of the mother currently. So who knows what's going to come out
Diggy.
tonight.
like with
Something so bizarre about this because it's not like Savannah has like controversial opinions.
No.
She's like showing,
no.
you know,
It's
Yeah.
like, here's how to make a pie.
yeah, it's like a
Yeah.
QVC host of the Today Show.
Yeah.
So it's like,
Yeah.
No,
what
it was
is
some kind of
going
a
on?
potential inside job, and
No.
they got caught robbing her, and blah blah blah.
That's why I thought. some
According
weird
to a
cartel thing.
psychic,
They
I
want
know.
the Bitcoin.
But
They want
I
it
don't
in
know
Bitcoin.
for sure. Like I don't know if
But
I
see,
should
that's-
even mention that, but
See,
What,
that's the
That's why I
part.
love my
So
show.
that's where I think that the ransom note itself is either a hoax or a distraction by the people who took her because criminals don't ask for money in Bitcoin anymore because Bitcoin is traceable. So it's either a very dumb criminal
How
or
about
it's a fake.
cartels?
Well, and cartels wouldn't use Bitcoin either. Like Bitcoin it's traceable. So they would use something else like Monero
What
or
about
something.
Doge?
Yeah, but and now it could be I would not expect every media outlet to just go with the generic and just call it Bitcoin if the ransom note actually asked for it in a different type of currency. But they're all saying Bitcoin, which makes me think it's either a fake ransom note by some
Yeah,
crazy person
might be.
capitalizing.
By the way, Barsh
it's a distraction by the people
Barsh
who
just
kidnapped.
texted me that the Clintons are testifying at the end of the month.
Yes,
There's a
and-
lot.
Hillary
a
said
lot.
if she could pick the date, she would show up. That's
well,
because they didn't show up. I guess they
and
had other things going
There's a
on.
lot that's gonna
I
happen
think
this
that the
next month.
Clinton
I mean, the
thing-
fact that we're only 1 month in is crazy.
A few days in.
No, to the year. Like
Oh,
we're
yeah.
not even to the year of the horse yet, you guys. We're
I
still
think-
in. What are
So
we at?
true. Snake.
Caleb,
I think the Clinton thing is them calling Trump's bluff because they are going to be given a national platform to say anything that they want, and everyone's going to believe what they say just because they finally agreed to testify. But that doesn't mean they're going to go in there and tell the truth.
It's a
But
good
now they have a
strategy by the
platform.
Clintons.
It is.
Yeah, that is
I
You're
don't
going
get
to
it.
do the
Yeah.
opposite of Trump. They're going to be like, we're so innocent.
Right.
We'll tell you
Right.
anything.
Is Hillary gonna
Right.
like describe every picture that
be
he was
Hillary's
in and what?
redemption
This is
to her.
her redemption
Her
arc.
redemption.
Yeah, this
They're
is.
gonna come
She's gonna be like, I'm
fully
still not
planned.
Bill
locked up.
in a hot tub.
She might
Yeah.
be like,
Cigar.
Trump.
what about him?
About Bill? Yeah. Well,
Not looking good for Bill.
not looking good for Bill.
I haven't seen much about Hillary in the.
I learned about
documents.
blowjobs for the first time during the Monica Lewinsky scandal. I was 8 years old, and I was at my grandparents'
Great.
house having dinner, and he was like, "I did not have," and I was like, "What's any of this mean?"
Oh boy.
He should be really embarrassed forever.
Yeah, he got impeached.
Well,
That poor woman.
are we
Ugh.
winding to a halt here? Are we
No,
good?
I think that we've covered as much as we can
For
today.
now.
I
Yes.
think.
Stay tuned for
yes,
more.
Yeah.
yes, yes. So follow these guys. Brianna Logan underscore.
Well, it's been very educational and entertaining
And
because
Emilie knows everything. And Emilie is entertaining as well. Speaking of entertaining, and I laughed out loud at some of her stuff. Yeah,
I don't know why.
It's because it's
you laugh
funny.
at stuff that's not supposed to be funny. You're like, that guy was weird in that comment.
Well,
I'm not going to call out any names, but
That's-
you know who you are. You smell worse than Epstein.
but you're some of the stuff, some of the self-deprecating humor is very funny.
Okay, good.
Okay.
Right now, I'm not trying to do a lot of that because I'm trying to just
and-
expose stuff.
And some of the sort of incredulity is very funny. Like
You're incredible.
like you can't believe it. Like
so
you're
much.
incredulous.
Oh, well,
Yeah.
I know. It's a crazy
You're
world
an
out
incredible
there.
woman. Go
it's
figure.
It's a wild world.
I agree.
Wild West.
But let's keep an eye on it. Thank you for being here, ladies.
Drew, I don't
Appreciate
know
it.
if you
For having
What-
us, Dr. Drew.
you should take this as an insult, but Boofy Boy on Rumble, new guy. I don't know him, but hi, Boofy.
Yeah.
Oh, look, it's the Council of Estrogen. Woohoo!
Hi, yes,
See,
thank
Drew?
you. Good
Actually,
one.
I don't have much estrogen.
We had this
like-
whole conversation last night about estrogen.
Wait, no, I do
We
have a lot, actually. Yeah, you're right. It was
Yeah.
testosterone I don't have a lot of.
Adam used to give me shit for being too
He
estrogen.
spelled council wrong. Oh, is he dumb? That's sad.
He did. He said,
Why would you go to that island?
C-O-U-N-S-I-L.
He probably went to that island.
I
called you a boomer, too.
This whole that's true.
And
Mr.
something else. I
Boofy.
won't say.
Actually, we're part of this new.
Hey, I'd rather be called a boomer than a pedo right
oh
now.
yes, for
So
sure.
true. So
Yeah.
quick.
But literally, I'm part of the Jones generation. Heard about that group? You guys don't know about the Jones generation?
Tell us more, please.
We're millennials.
Yeah, you're millennials, but it was
We're not
between
Jonesing.
Boomer and X. There was about an 6-year period that didn't fall into either category. And that we were busy trying to keep up with the Joneses because the Boomers were just getting on with things. And we were like, holy shit, there's nothing left. The Boomers took everything. So we tried. And some of us were able to succeed because of workaholism, frankly.
also-
That's you for sure.
Workaholism
That's
was-
for you.
Yeah.
That's you for sure.
Well, we
Oh,
went
for
through
sure.
the recession. We were in
the
part of
70s recession and stuff too, but we weren't in the 60s. You know, we were the 70s generation really, and we were workaholics, really serious workaholics.
Well, I know, not to just like bring us back to Epstein, but I remember in the past you've admitted that you never really feel fulfilled or satisfied. Like even though you've accomplished so much, you always
I don't
feel like
I don't feel like I've done very much.
I feel like Epstein people are the same, except they do feel like they've done it all, and then they need to do something really creepy, and that's why they go.
That's
I think that's
interesting.
the mindset
Yeah.
there. It's like,
They
what
earned
haven't
it.
I done?
They earned it.
And that's
yeah.
the only thing left.
Ooh.
So
I've done so much for humanity. I
This
can
is-
do this really
That's
bad
what I
thing.
Let me
think it
tell you,
is.
Justifying it.
I am making a case for low self-esteem.
I think so.
It's a salvation. We have a low self-esteem.
Men with low self-esteem.
Me, because you figure you can, if you can do it, anybody can do it. It's no big deal. And you take blame for everything, and you don't feel special, and all these the opposite of what these guys are representing. So which is something Adam and I have been saying for a long time, which is that the self-esteem movement was a disaster. Disaster. Low self-esteem is an
She
asset.
told me the other day, my self-esteem, you need to work on your self-esteem. I said, I think it
You
makes me
shouldn't
work
feel
harder.
It does.
Yeah, it does.
You
I
shouldn't,
never
you shouldn't feel
like
bad about
anything's
yourself.
enough.
But you.
She's upset. I never feel like any accomplishment. I am like,
what did you just say about me?
No, it's Virgos.
Yes.
Not. I know, Mr. Boofy. I did bring it back to astrology, but you did think that was a problem.
I don't like seeing my friend not be proud of themselves.
Why do we
when they
need?
deserve
But
it.
then when we do, then you might end up on the island. So
See, so it's an asset.
there's
I understand.
always
It is
or
an
a
asset.
silver
You
lining.
shouldn't feel bad about yourself, and the low self-esteem
It's not
shouldn't
that
be.
bad. I just feel like there
shouldn't
could
be
be-
troubling. It should be like it's just a
Motivating.
It's just a it's
on
an
a spectrum.
yeah. It's sort of a posture. It's just like, oh, I'm responsible for things, and
Yeah.
I'm not special, and that's good. That's
Sure.
fine. That's
Yeah.
So okay, we're gonna wrap it up. We appreciate you being here. Tomorrow, Caleb, put up the list. I think we have.
I want to have you guys
Salty
back if
Cracker
more
tomorrow?
breaking news
Oh,
happens.
for sure, we need you back.
Yeah.
Salty Cracker returns
handle
with
this
Chef
alone.
Rule. Kira Davis is going to fill in with me while we're in Poland next
Ooh,
week.
you have JP Sears coming on.
We have JP Sears coming on, Luke Rutkowski. We have a lot of stuff. Michael Shermer coming in. I'm reading his book about truth. Kira Davis is going to fill in for me. And Mark, we're going to try to do a show from Poland on the 12th, which should be interesting. Mark Rubert will.
Between
Yeah, you never
Wiener
stop.
Schnitzel
You
and
just-
sausage.
It never stops.
We're flying to Poland with our housekeeper of 35 years. She had a stroke, and I'm taking her back to her family.
She wanted to go Poland.
She's
We said, we'll take you.
83 years old.
Yeah, we will take you.
And she's doing well. We're going to we're going to take her on an 11-hour flight. And then we're going to go hang around in Warsaw and then fly to Vienna and go look at stuff we've never seen in Austria and then fly back on Valentine's Day.
That's very sweet. That's
So
a quick
romantic.
trip. That's actually kind of quick.
If everyone could just look at your relationship and just seek something normal, we'd be in a better place.
Work trip, but we're going to try to have fun with it.
I bet you will. I have a feeling you will.
It's
a lot of work. Getting somebody, the stroke patient, installed in another country. She has had to work full time. Banks and Social Security, Polish government.
I had to go to
family
Social Security.
And, oh my God, travel.
I get logged out of her.
Gonna be okay?
No,
Brianna needs a job.
She helped us raise our kids. We had triplets, and she helped us raise our kids. And she was just.
She's in a really great home right now, Meridian Manor in South Pasadena. If anybody needs something for their mom, but we had a really good experience. She popped back. Like I asked the headmaster of Meridian Manor. I said, how many of these ladies come back? Because a lot of them have dementia. She goes 0. And I go, oh, we're the only one. But she has a great doctor working for her. And she always surrounded herself with great people, a lot of doctors. She worked for a lot of doctors. She was an attorney before she fled communism and ended up becoming my nanny, a housekeeper. So she worked hard up until, she had her stroke.
She's
and
part of your family.
She showed up every day, like at 8 o'clock.
At the end, we were just sort of like, if you want to come.
Sure.
And she'd show up at 8 o'clock in the morning and she loved my dog and she would take care of the dog and like it was her baby. And I don't know, it's really hard to find people who become a part of your family. And it's very sad. It's very, like my daughter was on a plane and saw an elderly lady on the plane. She got very wistful thinking about Teresa leaving. And, I was showing her pictures of our life together and stuff. And I started crying and.
Yeah, because you're probably never going to see her.
Yeah. It's like, when you do a celebration of life for somebody and you get all the pictures together and you cry. I was doing that, but I tried to put something together for her with pictures of the kids. I only found one picture. We didn't take a lot of pictures of her, but I found a really cute one of her when the kids were like
Halloween.
5 years old doing Halloween.
Wow, it's a long time.
Oh,
yeah, she was there
before we had kids. Before we had kids.
Before we got married.
Oh wow, no wonder you're going.
Before we got married.
She just put her card in the mailbox, and one day I just said, "I need a housekeeper," and she's such a hard worker, but she's doing great, and I get her home.
Caleb, what?
Does that make Teresa the longest Penske employee out of us all?
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah, she survived.
Well, wait, she has to be, because that would mean that she was working with you guys before I was even born.
She put up with me.
Before you were born.
Wow. You got a lot to do to catch up.
I know.
Like that
if you ever have a stroke, I'll take care of you.
I'm
in your
looking
old
at
age.
the Rumble
Hopefully it won't be
rants.
before me.
And Susan sounds. Thanks for pointing out, Susan. That's good to know. Scotty7688 is a good bowler.
Scotty's bowler.
Bowling.
Thank you.
All right, guys. Thank you all for being here. We appreciate it. We went long today intentionally because we wanted to hear this update. I appreciate the earlier guests. They were very interesting. We'll get updates
This is a
from
long
them as well.
show, and I'm so glad you guys came in person.
Yeah, me too. Thank you guys. Thank you guys for being here. You did a great job.
Oh, good.
We really appreciate you
We were
coming.
worried it was going to be a
guys
fist
are
fight. So.
Fabulous
why?
duo.
Why would
and
it be a fist fight?
maybe we will do a calling out and.
You never know what happens on podcasts.
Yeah.
It could be
That's
anything.
true. I guess that's right. So. And you guys are a little.
live.
You guys are a little.
Yeah, we're a little riled up.
You're a team.
We come like that.
Estrogen panel.
Bye, everybody.
Right?
I see
Upstate New York
Rumble
and us.
signing off. They're going to go watch
Bye.
Redacted and or whatever and or Viva Fry or whatever.
See you
Whoever's
tomorrow
on.
at 2:00 Pacific time with Salty
Cracker.
Woo!
You
See you
what?
at
Salty
2:00.
cracker.
Why?
You got really passionate about
what?
independent media and jazz.
Ask Dr. Drew is produced by Caleb Nation and Susan Pinsky. Emilie Barsh is our content producer. As a reminder, the discussions here are not a substitute for medical care, diagnosis, or treatment. This show is intended for educational and informational purposes only. I am a licensed physician, but I am not a replacement for your personal doctor, and I am not practicing medicine here. Always remember that our understanding of medicine and science is constantly evolving. Though my opinion is based on the information that is available to me today, some of the contents of this show could be outdated in the future. Be sure to check with trusted resources in case any of the information has been updated since this was published. If you or someone you know is in immediate danger, don't call me, call 911. If you're feeling hopeless or suicidal, call the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline at
273-8255. You can find more of my recommended organizations and helpful resources at drdrew.com/help.